Alright, I've got another video on the Monte Carlo for you guys today. I know you guys have seen it several times before, but this one is going to be one of probably several videos I do on this car, particularly focusing on the rear brakes on the car. A few months back, I went and bought junkyard parts. Let me see if I can lay on the ground here. And if you can't see, let me get right here where you can see this one. I put disc brakes on the back of this car. And, so yeah, and of course my phone's out of focus. There we go. Yeah, so, quick rundown on what I did here. You can see there's a little hole for the e-brake cable. These calipers, rotors, pads, hoses, whatnots are all for a 98 through 2004 model Chevy Blazer, which was the replacement for the S10 Blazer, and they're still based on the S10 body style. I used the two-wheel drive rotors that has the shorter hats on them, and the calipers and the brackets are the same on the two or the four-wheel drive. Originally, when I put these on here, I wanted to make it where the calipers faced towards the front, but I don't know how well you can see it, that little square right there, that's the bump stop, that gets in the way on both sides. So I had to put them facing towards the rear, which is no big deal. And as you can see, though, with the zip ties and things like that, this project is not quite finished because I don't have the e-brake hooked up. The original e-brake cables on this car are pretty well shot, so I'm going to replace that, and I'll have to replace a couple other things. But the biggest problem I ran into, which is something I'll get more into depth on later, and there will be videos of me fixing this, the tops of these calipers, right here, the little ribbed part, hits the frame right up there. And I mean, it only likes about that much of being able to clear. So the frame of this car is going to have to be notched right there in that one spot to clear these calipers. Now, I've heard of people using 4th gen Camaro brakes on these. I don't know if that will be the case. I don't know if they'll hit the frame or not. And when I first started doing this project and I first got everything bolted up, I didn't know that these would hit the frame either. So it's one of those things. Like I said, I'll make several videos of this throughout time. So it'll be an adventure that you guys can watch me embark on here, trying to fix all this crap. And after I cut the frame and notch it and weld a new piece of metal in, I'm going to get some brackets for the hoses and weld them onto the tube and do a few other things, clean a few things up. At some point in the future, I'm going to have to take the rear end out of this car. You can see how crusty it is under here. It needs a lot of work. I'm going to replace all these bushings and control arms on the four-link. As you can see, I had to take the rear end apart. Anybody that's ever worked on these knows you have to take the rear end pretty much completely apart to get the axles out. So when I did that, I'd worked on the rear end in this car once before, and I remember having this problem. The fill plug on the other side of the chunk over there is stripped completely out in this car. And so the last time I worked on it, I pretty much just had to look up on the good old internet to find out how much oil this thing holds, and I had to fill it through the vent tube, and it was a huge pain. So what I've done now, if you look at that real close, whenever I had the cover off this thing, I drilled a hole in it with a step bit, and I bought that rubber plug right there for a Dodge truck or van. They came factory with those, and I bought a factory replacement plug. And I drilled the hole up high, and so now I can fill it up with oil and just pop the plug in it, and it's good to go. And if you drain it, of course, all you have to do is take the cover off. It doesn't leak. I've not had any problems out of it. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that. If anybody has had the problem with their plug being stripped out and they want to be able to fill the oil up in the rear end, it's a super easy way to do it. I think I paid $2 for that plug, so yeah, no big deal at all. But anyway, I just wanted to crawl up under here and give you guys a quick look at the disc brakes on the back of this car. And like I said, there will definitely be videos in the future, but that's all for now. I gotta run.